Marcel LaGrange pleaded guilty today to murdering two people in front of their children in downtown Westbrook in 2023, reversing a previously not criminally responsible plea.
LaGrange pleaded guilty to all 6 counts against him this morning, including 2 counts of intentional or knowing murder, 1 count of aggravated attempted murder, 1 count of aggravated assault, 1 count of criminal threatening with a dangerous weapon, and 1 count of reckless conduct with a dangerous weapon. Westbrook police say they were called to the intersection of Main Street and Bridge Street on June 19th.
When they arrived, authorities say they saw LaGrange shoot and kill Brittany Cockrell outside of a car. Inside the car, emergency responders later found 41-year-old Michael Hayter dead and 2 children who witnessed the shooting.
Court papers reveal that 11-year-old Mason told police that LaGrange shot at him but missed because the boy ducked. Investigators say LaGrange did not know the victims. He will be sentenced at a later date.